So I have 2 books out right now. One is The Definitive Guide to Libertarian Voluntarism. The other is A Vision for a Libertarian Future. And basically these books kind of help people understand the principles and give them a sense of incrementalism and how we can move toward a freer future. And I did do a talk on that for Liberty 101 here on Wednesday.
So one thing I wanted to ask you specifically about voluntarism, I want you to explain that to us. And is it different than agorism? I don't know how exactly you say that, but I have a vague understanding of what this is. But tell us what it is.
Sure. So voluntarism is the consent ethics of the philosophy of liberty. It's this idea that in order for us to act ethically, we need to have consent of others. And I think that this is pretty easy to relate to in any other context. You know, when you're talking about a lot of crimes, a lot of times the difference between whether something is good or bad or criminal, non-criminal is whether there's consent, right? If you have sex with someone and they're agreeing to that, you're like, oh, okay, that's wonderful. But if they don't consent, we call that rape. And if you're, trading with somebody, right, and you're giving them money, they give you a nice taco, like Chad's Tacos over here, right? That's consensual. But if you go and you grab their taco and you run off with that without paying, that's going to be theft. And, so on and so forth, right? If you fight somebody and you're agreeing to that, you're in a boxing ring. But if someone just, beating you and try to mug you, that's a battery. So we understand that consent really is what meters ethical behavior. And it's kind of a standard that most people already expect for themselves. And that's part because you cannot want your consent to be violated. It's a logical impossibility, right? The act of wanting something is to consent to it. So you can't want your consent to be violated. So this kind of reciprocal, empathetic idea is very relatable for people to think about and adopt from themselves. And really where people get tripped up is when it comes to the state, where they are making excuses for non-consensual activity, aggressive behavior when someone has a badge or says, oh, I'm from the government. So a big part of my work is helping people apply their personal ethics more universally.
Yeah, because, and I talk about it similarly, perhaps, between violence and persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of our philosophy is driven by this idea that it's our job, if we want to cooperate with other people, to convince them that there is a win-win to be had, and to make the sales pitch. I suppose that's a vulgar way of thinking about it, because I don't think most people think about it that way. And it's everybody knows it's wrong to steal from your neighbor, but a lot of people get tripped up when they're like, well, I'm going to elect a guy, and that guy can steal from my neighbor to do things that I think we should do together.
Right.
That's the crux of it, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's not excusing what is known unethical behavior. You otherwise know this for yourself, and it's even taught to little kids. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, don't hurt others and don't take their stuff, kind of thing. Respect the golden rule. But suddenly, oh well, now if you vote, you can steal, you can murder, right? As long as you voted on it, now it's okay, and it's really ethical insanity.